All right, I think we are good to go. So this presentation is called Crafting the Perfect Web Marketing Strategy. And really what it's about is creating leverage, an asset that you can build and grow to grow your business, something that works for you and is one of the hardest staff members working within the business. I'm going to run through the 5 key steps to getting that perfect web marketing strategy. So who is this bearded man talking to you about websites? My name is John Hollenberg. I own a website design business called 5x5. We build great looking, high performing websites. Over 11 years in business, 1,000+ sites delivered, not too bitter and twisted, a little bit of grey hair, but still having lots of fun along the way. So some of the clients that we've worked with over the years include Qantas InSky, Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary, Jeep Chrysler Dodge. We have been exposed to a lot of different industries, learn about a lot of different interesting businesses, but the common thread through all those is building, like I said, great looking, high performing sites. So do stick around. I'll be sharing these presentation link with you so that you can reference the slides. So just at the end, someone remind me to send that link, and I'll make sure that that comes through to you. So the reason that I am so passionate about this stuff is it's actually worked for us. It's helped us grow a really successful, awesome business. And it's what we call eating your own dog food. And I know that probably sounds like a bit of a horrible visual, but essentially this is stuff that we've been implementing in our business, and it has got tremendous results. So 11 years ago when I set up the business, I set it up in such a way that I didn't really want to do the work. So my sweet spot is around the sales, the marketing, and strategy side of things. So I started out as a technician, but that's not my sweet spot. So I'd employed a graphic designer, a programmer, all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, cool, all right, we've got a team. Now, where are the clients? And I didn't have any clients. So that was the next problem that I had to go out and solve. And in the meantime, I was burning cash because it obviously, it's expensive to employ staff and put bums on seats and all that sort of stuff. So what I did was I started creating content. So I was out there in the trenches, out at the B&I meetings and networking and all that sort of stuff. And people would always ask me questions. They're like, what tool should I be using for my website? What's the correct sort of website strategy content? How do I make Google aware of the website? All this sort of stuff, right? So then I thought, well, maybe I should actually be answering this and then, sharing that content. So do the work once and then go out and share it. So create useful, helpful content that actually solves people's problems, give it away for free. So we started doing this sort of 5-6 years ago and doing it en masse. And before long, we built up, a really good pool of content. And then I was like, well, maybe I should actually put all this content into a book. So then I wrote my book, Love at First Sight. And then what I did was I actually had the book recorded as an audio book, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about this shortly. But then I could basically give it away for free. So I started creating heaps of content. I started giving it away for free. And before you know it, we got really busy, right? People kept finding us. Our site performed really well in Google. We kept getting referred. We were sort of like, the go-to guys for WordPress stuff. And that's really how we've built a team of 10 people that are really passionate about building sites. So there's 5 key steps to a perfect web marketing strategy. And I'll give you a quick overview of those, and then we're going to go into a deep dive into each of these. So if everyone could just give me a little thumbs up that they're following and they're hearing me okay. Awesome. Yeah, cool. Okay. Thanks, Justine. Great. All right. Well, look, I'll kick on. So the first key step is focusing on conversions. Second step, making it mobile friendly. We live in this age of mobile devices, and we need to make sure that our sites are working really well on all these mobile devices. Step 3 is building awesome content. So that's sort of going to what I just touched on before. Step 4 is dangling a carrot. And then step 5 is telling your story. Why do you do what you do? And telling that in a leverage fashion. So I'll go into a bit more detail about that. So they're the 5 key steps. That's what we're going to cover today. So let's dig into number 1, focusing on conversion. Well, it probably helps if we define what is actually conversion. What do we want someone to do when they come through their website? And ideally, we want them to put their hand up. We want them to say, hey, I'm interested in your product or service. So that's really, that may consist of picking up the phone, may consist of filling out a form, or maybe in an e-commerce style environment, it may consist of a sale, an online sale. So that's what we define as a conversion. And there's different conversion factors. So essentially what we want to do is we want to build trust. We want to try and remove as much friction from this sales process as possible. And there's a bunch of key steps that you can do. So I'm going to touch on a bunch of these. And obviously, no two designs are exactly the same. But if you follow these sort of key elements, then you can ensure that you're giving your site the best possible chance. So an example would be making sure that the phone number is there, top right-hand corner of the screen. Be really clear about who you are and what you do. So 5x5, we build great-looking, high-performing sites. So in that headline, it should summarize you in one key headline. Have a video on the homepage, talk about why you do what you do. Let people eyeball you, look straight down the camera and get to know you. Benefit-ridden copy. So people are selfish. You want to make sure that the copy is very focused on what's in it for them. So little ticks, that you want to go down the list and make sure that you're ticking boxes in their mind. Testimonials. This is the social proof that people are looking for. So if you can get high-profile individuals to talk about your products and services and have that 1-2 line testimonial on the homepage, or even better, a video testimonial, absolute gold. Communicate proof through building through trust and logos. So basically, if you're part of an industry organisation or you have a certain certification within your business, little logos that are also building that trust that you are a good, robust, established operator that plays by the rules and is going to do a great job. Capture their details. So that's about waving a carrot, and that's really about capturing people's email addresses, but giving something of tremendous value away. So you give that away for free, and in exchange, they give you their email address. Use guarantees. So try and reverse all risk in this sales equation. So, in 5x5, our business, we have 100% money back guarantee. And that basically, puts people's minds at rest that if they're not happy, they're going to get their money back. So any guarantees, that might be, say, from an e-commerce store, it might be guarantee around shipping, in terms of shipping times, or 24-hour response times, or whatever. Focus on your team members. So team members, photos and videos. People buy from people, so it's really important that you put your staff, your team members front and center, because they are the heroes in this equation. They're the ones who are going to be delivering the remarkable service or product on behalf of you. And then finally, load time, making sure the site loads nice and quick. This is a factor, a ranking factor within Google, and they want to make sure that the user experience, i.e. when they go to your site, is a good one. It loads nice and quick. So number 2, making it mobile friendly. So what this means is in this digital world of tablets and phones and all that sort of stuff, we need to make sure our websites look awesome on mobile devices. The numbers that we are seeing across the broad cross-section of sites that we're working on is roughly between 40 to 50 of all traffic is derived from a mobile or a tablet device. So these are pretty big numbers, and obviously that varies from industry to industry and site to site and all that sort of stuff, right? But that is only going to get bigger. So mobile will get to a point where it is outweighing desktop views. And that's going to happen really, really soon. Google are putting more and more emphasis on mobile display. So the way that we approach this is through mobile responsive design. And what this means is we build a site that looks great on your big, say, 27-inch iMac, and then that adapts or responds to, say, the laptop, and then that adapts and responds down to a smaller tablet. So the interface is staying exactly the same. It's just the width, the available real estate that's changing, and then it goes down to, say, a mobile device, where basically it just cascades, or it stacks each of these blocks. So you can see the blue blocks there, they get stacked in one long page, one long narrow page. That's mobile responsive design. We use lots of little techniques there, but essentially it's one site for all these different devices. So it's like future-proofing your website, and it just makes sure it looks great on all your different devices. Google putting more and more and more emphasis on this. They provide lots of free tools, so I encourage everyone to go through to the mobile friendly test. So if you go to Google and just type in mobile friendly test, this site will come up. You can analyze your existing site, and you can actually see whether Google will give you the tick or the cross. And then secondly, they've got another tool called the Page Speed Insights, and that gives you a score out of 100 in terms of how your site ranks. So you can see this desktop site for 5x5, we're at 88 out of 100. So maybe there's a little bit more room for improvement, but generally, anything like 65, 70% plus, you want to make sure that you're scoring well in that equation, because that's Google's big long list. They're a logarithm in terms of how they analyze your site. They want to make sure that you're in the upper spectrum of those scores. Step 3, building awesome content. So I touched on this before about how we've approached this strategy. This is another client, a long-term client. Her name is Tanya. And Tanya used to work in a government job. She sat in her little 3x3 cubicle down in Canberra, and she was good at her job. But her real passion was when she got home. She sat up on the kitchen table every night and she started sewing, and she would make these beautiful bridal headpieces, garters, veils, all this sort of stuff, right? Really nice, bespoke, just beautiful pieces. And this is where her passion was. We built her original site maybe 7 or 8 years ago now. She had a shop and all that sort of stuff. Basically launched a site and not a whole lot happened. And so she then said, well, what about if I just start creating awesome content and sharing all these beautiful products and almost making my website like a bit of a magazine, a really glossy magazine. So then what she did was she got all her buddies together on the weekend, and they'd go out and they'd set up these stylized photo shoots and all that sort of stuff, right? So she was creating like really beautiful quality content, and you don't have to go to this trouble, but this is a great example of what you can do. So she jam-packed her blog of all these different, stylized shoots. She created videos, so how to secure a drop veil, how to bustle a wedding veil, how to tie the perfect sash bow. Anyone who has been in the lead up to a marriage, and I know my wife, she did a ton of research about all this sort of stuff. So that's a perfect example. Like, these stats are a little bit older, but these videos have been viewed 10,000 plus times. So she gets tremendous traction and impact from this content that she's created. So that all gets featured on her blog. And then if you go to Google and you type in bridal headpieces Sydney, so working in the Sydney market, which is first of all very competitive, and the bridal market, which is super competitive, and you combine the two, she's got tremendous traction. So bridal headpieces Sydney, she's sitting there in number 2 position. This is an example of just a monthly clicks that she generated from that one keyword search phrase. So then if you think about all the different permutations and combinations of different keywords that her site generates, it generates a tremendous amount of traffic. I think her site averages 10,000 hits a day or something like that. So that converts to sales through her shop. So that's a tremendous example of how creating content can have a real lasting impact in terms of like dollars in a bank account. The other funny thing that happened was she started getting featured offline, so all these like traditional magazines and print publications. She started getting exposure there from all her online digital work. The end result was Tanya was able to leave that government job. She's now built a really successful business. She's got a team of people that are helping her on a day-to-day basis, and she is obviously in her sweet spot in terms of doing the marketing and all the promotions and all that sort of stuff. So that's an awesome example of how you can create content. Content is easy. I say to my clients, the easiest thing to do is to sit down with a prospective client or an existing client and just listen to the questions that they ask you on a day-to-day basis. Write them down on a notepad. And then you get a long list, maybe 10, 20 questions that you've been asked over the last week. You then answer those questions in the form of a blog post. So they could be stuff like frequently asked questions, how-tos, product reviews. So if you're, someone like Tanya, product reviews, you can quite easily do that. News updates, some more industry-related stuff, lists, top 10 ways, to get a student visa, something like that. So, there's tremendous opportunity, and content is limitless. It's right there at your fingertips. Number 4 is dangle a carrot. So what we want to do here is give away tremendous value up front. And the way that I've done that is I've leveraged my book. So I created all this content. Then what I did was I engaged a voiceover artist to physically read the book. So I'm the sort of person that loves to consume audio content, whether I'm in the car, I'm out running or whatever, right? That's how I learn. That's how I get my education. So I recorded this as an audiobook, and I give it away completely free of charge. So you can go to our website and download the free audiobook and resources. There's some supplementary resources as well. All they've got to do is give me their name and their email address. So once they opt into that, they get instant access to the resources. They can download it, put it on their phone, listen to the content. I can educate them. They can consume it in their own time. So since doing that, these stats are a little bit older as well, but basically we've had over 2,000 plus people opt in since launching that specific feature on our site. And then you can continue to have an ongoing relationship with those, and essentially, you can drip feed content, you can add them to your, monthly newsletter, try and massage and tweak that relationship moving forward. Another option is to build a quiz. So this is something that we've been doing a lot of lately as well. So this is a HR consultant, and they set up a quiz, which basically is aimed to, gauge where you are in the scheme of attracting and retaining superstars within your organisation. So we get their first name, last name, email, and phone number, and then they're asked a series of about 40 questions. So they go through that whole process, and at the end, they get an overall score, so a percentage, plus a breakdown of the different categories, or each of the questions are categorised, so you get a feel for where you performed well and maybe didn't perform so well in other areas. In addition, the results are emailed through in a very similar fashion. Essentially, we can tweak and massage that relationship. People can just hit reply to the email and say, can you help me improve this score or whatever? So that's another example of building an asset or a resource within your sort of website ecosystem. Finally, number 5, telling your story. So storytelling has been around since the age of time. It's how man has communicated information, and it's really how our brains are wired. And when someone sits down and starts telling a story, you sit up and you take notice. So by using that strategy within your site, it's a much better way of doing that. Talking about why you get out of bed. Why do you do what you do day in, day out? I'm just going to show you an example of that. So this formula works so well across a wide range of industries. We've used it across, these guys are concreters, we've used it in financial planning, accounting, property development, you name it, it works. It's just a unique formula that when plugged into the site, just puts a real firecracker under it. So I'm going to show you this video. expand that.
The one thing that really annoys me out of anything is people that say they're going to do something and they don't follow through with it. We're not like that. We are good at what we do, and we are very confident. My name's Joe from NQ Tropical Concrete. The company was formed in 2008. We have a great crew of guys working for us. We have our own admin, our own safety, and we do our own survey. One of the smoothest projects we did was for Extrata, the stores warehouse at MacArthur River Mine. Everything went on time. There wasn't a problem with the job, and then we got a nice pat on the back at the end of the job with a nice handshake saying, "Well done, that was a professional job," and thank you very much. That was really rewarding. We have a lot of respect from the client because we run our own race, we do our own job. We're not going to them every 5 minutes asking them for any more information or anything like that, because we're pretty self-sufficient. I've got a young family, and it's the remote work takes me away from which I miss, but you got to make a dollar. So that's why we're here. We love what we do. We're good at what we do, and we supply solutions like that.
That's pretty cool, huh? So this, like I said, this works really well. Let me just get my slides back. There we go. So included in this presentation, a bunch of links to other sites that have used this. So like I said, plumbers, financial planners, Justin Coulson's a parenting expert. This formula works absolute treat. And when you put it front and center on your homepage, it's a really engaging way of getting your message across. So that video was about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and you learn a lot about that business owner and how he approaches things. You got a good feel for who he is and how he rolls and whether he's going to do a good job for you. So that's the point I'm trying to make. So why did you show up today? Maybe your site looks old and outdated. Maybe you're not getting the response or the traffic, nothing but crickets through it. Maybe you're just really caught up in your business, you're super time poor, and you just don't have the time or don't know where to start. So we find these are the 3 characteristics as to the issues that people have when approaching the website. So in terms of any sort of good website strategy, this is our approach. So obviously we understand the client, their place in the market, what they're trying to get done, how they're going to measure success. We then design and build an awesome website focused around conversions, looks great, it's technically sound, jam-packed full of content. And then we launch that site, and then we move into that ongoing content creation phase, because a static site that doesn't change and evolve and grow is useless basically. So we need to continue to build content, build it as an asset, build up that evergreen nature of it so that leads and inquiries continue to flow in for a long time. That content then gets shared through social media, through email marketing, through paid traffic. We then refine, rinse and refine, and go back and do it all over again. So this process is never ending, but the first step in all this is obviously having a strategy and then getting an awesome site. So I just like to give an overview of that general sort of philosophy. They're the starting points. Without those sort of 2 steps, obviously you can't then move on to the next ones. The end result is a site our clients are super proud of. They're seen as experts in the marketplace. They take that leadership role. They get an overflow of leads because they've done the hard work. They know what's involved, in building an awesome site and then sharing as much information as possible. So then those leads and inquiries will naturally flow in. And they've got a site that actually positions themselves as an authority, a leader in the marketplace, because it's jam-packed full of world-class content. The end result? Freedom. And that's ultimately, what gets me out of bed every day. I operate at the intersection of technology and freedom, personal empowerment. That's what really gets me excited, is when my clients, have leads and inquiries coming through to their business. They're able to build an even more successful business. So that is me. That hopefully everyone's got some value from today. I will share the link to this recording and also the slide deck. And if you've got any questions or queries, feel free to reach out. I'll do my best to answer them. I'll be conducting these webinars on a regular basis, so everyone's more than welcome to come back and participate